I was thinking about Xbox, as I tend to do. I think about Xbox and I think about Nintendo a lot. I never think about Sony because Sony's not really doing anything interesting. They're just out there doing their boring boomer 1990s console war nonsense. They're probably just still licking their wounds from the Concord debacle of last year. I mean, they really haven't done anything interesting since then. Well, they did release Astrobot. That came out last year, right? September? Alexa, when did Astrobot release?
Astrobot was released on September 6, 2024.
Yeah, Astrobot. But really haven't done anything interesting since then, and don't come at me with Lego Horizons. But then you have Xbox and you have Nintendo. They're pushing the industry. They're ruffling feathers. They are innovating, revolutionizing, and they're raising prices. And that was what came down this week. Xbox raising the prices of their consoles $100 and raising the prices of their games $10. So now games are going to be $80. And this is all really fascinating stuff. Of course, the gaming community had a complete meltdown. Why would you blah, 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 blah? Why would you do this? You're in third place. You need to be selling consoles, not blah, 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 raising your prices. Okay, no, that's not what this is about. This is far more advanced than that. There's a whole thing going on here, I think. And I am conspiracy theorying this out. So stay with me. So Xbox was not selling hardware to begin with, right? Raising their prices $100. They're not going to sell hardware. They weren't selling it at the current price. They wouldn't sell it at $100 less. Let's not forget, when these consoles launched, Xbox was practically giving these consoles away and still no one was buying them. So Xbox is raising the prices. Why? Because they don't want anyone to buy these consoles. And that's where raising the prices of the games $10 comes into play. Because this is not really affecting Game Pass or Xbox customers, Game Pass subscribers, because these games already are just come with the subscription service. This is kind of like a PlayStation tax to tax PlayStation gamers. And why? Well, this could be actually two reasons why that this is happening. To help possibly subsidize a Game Pass price hike, so they don't have to raise the price quite as much because they're getting a lot of money from at least the Call of Duty that's going to be selling for $80. And or migrating those PlayStation 5 Call of Duty players and other players who enjoy Xbox games, migrate those people to PC to then subscribe to Game Pass and away from PlayStation. And they're migrating them to PC because they don't want them to buy Xbox hardware, because Xbox wants out of this business. And we've already seen inklings of this over the past generation and a half. Basically, since Game Pass really started to, take hold, whereas Xbox was not interested in console numbers. They weren't really measuring success on consoles, but mostly on subscription services. And that's where the industry is going, like how many subscribers you have, not how many consoles you sell. And we are also seeing that with Xbox's handheld, which is being produced by or manufactured by Asus. Basically, it's just going to be an ROG Ally 2, I think, but it's going to be Xbox branded, probably come with like Game Pass pre-installed and be able to play Game Pass games. And this brings up a whole new level of thinking of Xbox's strategy moving forward. So Xbox has said that they are working on the second generation of the handheld and that they are currently working on the next generation of Xbox hardware. That, however, does not mean that they will be manufacturing this hardware. They are probably, I'm just postulating here, they are probably coming up with base level specs to then farm that manufacturing out to third parties, manufacturers. So you'll have Asus manufacture an Xbox console PC. Maybe Lenovo does the same thing. Maybe they get Dell to do one. Maybe they get Packard Bell to do one. Maybe Compaq. Maybe Gateway 2000. All of these manufacturers could each be manufacturing their own Xbox PC. And we've already seen inklings of Xbox PC branding in a way or being mentioned. And then Xbox just license out their OS and they leave all the manufacturing and all essentially the risk to these other manufacturers. And then they just produce games for these console PCs. And then we'll probably see the same thing happen with the handheld as well. You could have different versions of this handheld with a base level of specs, all priced differently. And having all of these manufacturers do this creates enough competition within that ecosystem that they can then drive the prices down. I don't know if this is the case. This is just my brain going into severe conspiracy mode. But raising the prices of your hardware $100, like that's quite, and we're initially blaming this on tariffs, and that might actually be a problem, but that might be one of those happy problems. It's like, okay, we have a strategy here that we can implement and we can kind of blame it on tariffs, but not actually say it, but this is what the presumption would be. I gotta get some sleep. And I gotta stop drinking caffeine. Okay, that's all I'm gonna talk about this. I'm fascinated what everyone thinks about this. I'm probably crazy. That's okay. I'm probably wrong. That's okay. This is not life or death, but it's just kind of fun to think about and fun to speculate. So if you have any ideas, go ahead and leave a comment down below. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, comment. I don't talk about the bell. You can also just ring the bell and that does stuff, which I don't. It says that it notifies you when new videos are available, but I think I've rang the bell on other channels and I don't know if I get notified of them. So maybe I just have notifications turned off. Anyways, you just do whatever you want. All right. Well, thanks for indulging me and I will see you next time. Okay.